watching Dante Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Jaron Ennis, he finally breaks his silence. And when I say breaks his silence, I mean he finally does an actual interview as opposed to just posting a statement. He did this interview with YSM Sports Media, and everything he said in this interview, it made all the sense in the world, and it corroborates everything that I have been saying about Jaron Ennis and what he wanted from the beginning. I'm talking about way before there were talks of him fighting, moving up to 154, fighting in February against anybody at 154.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was just a lot of like false information going around, fake news. I never had agreed to fight Virgil Ortiz on February 22nd, you know, and when Eddie called on the deadline, I was undecided whether I was going to stay at 47 or move to 54.
Why were you undecided at that point?
I was undecided because, as everybody know, I want to unify, be lineal, or at least you know, be undisputed at 147, or get my hands on one of those titles. And what nobody knows is, well, everybody know because everybody was quote unquote calling me the email champ. So, with that being said, I never was able to fight a world champion or take a world title from somebody. I was given the belt out of my hands. That was out of my hands. I couldn't say yes or no.
Listen, guys, when we all found out that Boots was going to be ordered to fight Karen Chukachan again, and it was already the worst fight the last time, and that was all because of Karen not wanting to fight and just moving around, the IBF, they put Jaron in a bad position by enforcing that rematch. But since the Unification bout overrules a mandatory fight, all the other champions at 147 turned down the rematch with Jaron, forcing Jaron to either move up in weight or defend his title against Karen Chukachan in a rematch. The fact that Jaron took this rematch was a strong indication that he did not want to move up in weight. He wasn't ready to move up in weight. He still felt he had a lot of unfinished business to do at 147.
Does that kind of like take away from like what you always dreamed of as a kid?
Yeah, it definitely took away what I always dreamed of as a kid, and I have yet to still feel that feeling of winning a world title and taking it from somebody, and that's what really got to me, and that's why I was indecisive on like what I should do, and that's why I took some time off from boxing for a little bit, for like 3 weeks.
So you didn't ask for the Virgil Ortiz bout to be at 147 pounds because that's what some outlets are reporting.
No. Why would I do that? Virgil Ortiz, when the last time he made 147, and the last time he got down to try to get to 147, he almost hurt himself. I think he tried to fight Stanionis, 2 times?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
The first time, I think Stanionis had like appendicitis, but the other 2 times, he couldn't make it because he got sick.
So it was more than 2 times.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. Why would I try to make somebody get down to a weight class where he almost hurt himself, killed himself, or whatever, and like that don't make sense. Like it's common sense. People should know that and read up on things and pay attention more. Like none of that stuff makes sense. Why would I bring him down to 147? Like it don't make sense. And it's a lot of people don't understand when you go up in weight and things like that, you can't come back down. It's hard to do that. Just look at Roy Jones. Look at these other guys that went up. Kell Brook. Like people, when you go up in weight, you come back down. You either gonna hurt yourself or you're not gonna be the same fighter no more. So it's just hard to do that. And that was another big reason why I was undecided on.
Jaron is absolutely right. When you move up in weight, it's hard to come back down in weight and still be as successful. Now, this happened before, but it's something that rarely happens. So here you have Jaron Ennis that just had a fight, right? And then what? In the next week or two, they're contacting him, telling him, we need you to move up to 154. And we need an answer now. Because Eddie Hearn, he already confirmed that's how it was presented to Jaron.
When we got proposed the fight, it was at 147, which was obviously a no-brainer. Then we was told it was 154, which is fine. But it's just timing, really. We've got unification fights in the work, and Boots has got to decide to vacate the title, to move up, to fight for no title. So I wouldn't say it's completely dead, but time-wise, if they're looking to announce it today, it probably won't happen.
You know, I hear some fans say, hey, man, what's the problem? Why you can't just move up to 154? I mean, if you take a loss, you could still go right back down to 147 and you're still going to be the champion. I mean, they make it sound like this is a video game. I mean, look at what happened to Mikey Garcia after he moved up to fight against Errol Spence. Even though he didn't get knocked out, his career was pretty much over with after that. As Jerron just put it, even if you were to win at 154 and come down at 147, you may not be the same fighter, just like Roy Jones wasn't the same fighter. Fighters don't often move up in weight because they're forced to by the promotional companies. They usually move up in weight because they're struggling to make weight, or they accomplished everything they set out to in their own weight class. I mean, sure, Jerron said he's going to move up to 154, and he said it many times. I mean, that's just like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford said he's going to move up to 154 way before he did it. And just real quick, I want to correct Eddie Hearn on something he said. It's not true that if Jerron moved up to 154, he would have been stripped of his belt. And the belt wasn't even Jerron Ennis' main concern. His concern was he still had unfinished business at 147 before he moves to 154. I mean, in that interview I just played for you, Jerron, he was saying a lot of things that I have been saying about this whole situation for quite some time. You know, he's not even considered the real champion at 147 because the belt was handed to him. Jerron wants to accomplish the same type of stuff that Terrence Crawford accomplished at 147. At least that was his goal. Become undisputed. Then move up to 154 the same way Crawford did, right? Now, unfortunately for Jerron, he may not be able to do that because these other fighters probably will keep avoiding him, which is why I have been telling you guys for a very long time, they need to start mandating unification bouts. And they could be ordered maybe once a year or maybe once every 2 years. Now, from what I'm hearing, this idea has already reached Turki Al-Sheikh, and now he wants to implement mandated unification bouts. So at the end of the day, we all know that when Virgil Ortiz was at 147, he was the one avoiding Jerron Ennis. And when he was avoiding Jerron Ennis, these same fans is making all this noise today about Jerron not moving up to 154. They were silent when Virgil Ortiz was fighting at 147. You didn't get any of these race fans, meaning these non-black fans, that were saying, man, I want to see Jerron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. They didn't want to see it because they felt that Jerron would be too much of a favorite to win the fight. They're only saying they want to see this fight now because they know that the fight is not going to happen. And because they know that Jerron Ennis does not want to move up to 154 right now. This is how it was with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Before the fight was announced, all of these fans were saying they wanted to see Mayweather versus Pacquiao, right? As soon as the fight was announced, those race fans were the same ones that went completely silent. I remember making my announcement video of the fight, and all the race fans that would usually comment in my comment section saying they want to see the fight, they had nothing to say when it was announced because they knew once the fight was announced, the wrong guy was going to win. And just keep in mind, guys, these same fans were demanding the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight the same year that it was announced, just before it was announced. Because remember, people never knew that it was about to get announced. It was a big surprise. It had been a surprise for months. I mean, this is no different than if William Zepeda, let's say William Zepeda, he was the one that was aggressively going after Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson was the one saying, nah, man, I'm looking at other fights. William Zepeda, he's beneath me. I want to fight somebody else, right? If that was the scenario, without a doubt, all of these race fans on the internet and everywhere else, they would be saying, man, I want to see Shakur fight Zepeda. How come he won't fight Zepeda? Right? But they're not saying that because they know Shakur Stevenson wants to fight and they know what would happen in a fight like that. The same reason they're not mentioning the fact that Raymond Marataya turned down a Shakur Stevenson fight. So when it comes to Jerron Ennis, everything he's saying right now, it makes complete sense. The only problem Ennis has is if he cannot get those other champions in the ring, his career is going to be stuck in the mud at 147 for a while. at least until another star emerges at 147, or if some of the bigger names from 140 moves up to 147. You got Teofimo Lopez, who's been capping, saying he wants to fight against Crawford. This is his opportunity to move up to 147 and fight Jaron Ennis. You got Ryan Garcia, who's been calling out everybody all the way up to 154. So it's possible he could move up to 147 and fight Jaron Ennis. So, there are still some real big fights for Jaron if he stays at 147. Let's just hope for his sake he gets some of these names in the ring. Now, there was also another part in that interview where the interviewer, he told Jaron Ennis straight up, he said, the whole world is calling you a duck. Did you guys ever notice? When some of these same fans were accusing Terrence Crawford of avoiding Jaron Ennis, even though they were trying to diss Terrence Crawford, using a lot of the race fan talking points, they still weren't really praising Jaron Ennis. They were just trying to use Jaron Ennis's name to diss Terrence Crawford. Now those exact same fans are treating Jaron Ennis the exact same way they were treating Terrence Crawford, because they were never fans of Jaron Ennis or Terrence Crawford. But when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, they're going to defend him no matter what he does. In fact, Mike Coppinger, Chris Mannix, and other old media members, they came out publicly, going on Twitter or whatever, defending Canelo for not fighting David Benavidez. But Chris Mannix, who works with DAZN, he didn't come out trying to defend Jaron Ennis at all. He never came out saying, well, I could understand he doesn't want to move up to 154. He wants to stay at 147. He's not saying any of that. And by the way, guys, this is the exact same thing that happened with Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis. Before Devin fought Ryan Garcia, you had these race fans that were pitting the two black fighters against each other, but they were never fans of either one of them. And guys, understand, the reason why I'm only talking about the race fans, the non-black fans, is because they are the ones that pretty much dictate the narrative that some of these black fans will end up catering to. Like I said, before Devin Haney fought Ryan Garcia, he was considered more of the threat in the sport of boxing to race fans. So once again, they would try to use Davis's name as a way to justify their disdain for Devin Haney. In other words, it'll be their way of trying to say they're not being racist because they're actually fans of Davis. They're just anti-Haney. But now that Haney is out of the way and Davis is once again looking like the biggest threat, they have turned their attention to Davis. And they're saying the same things about Davis that they said about Haney. You can't show me 3 comments right now in the comment section on the internet where someone who is not black is actually defending Davis and praising him the same way they would defend Canelo and praise him no matter what Canelo decides to do. We know what time it is. With that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with this clip.
The whole world is calling you a duck, bro. Why did it take you so long to speak out on this situation in depth?
Not gonna lie, I was hot, I was heated, and I was angry, and I reached out to everybody involved, to get down to the bottom of what was going on. And it was just a bunch of miscommunication and things like that. And I got a great team, and I hired them to do their job. But I just felt like I was out of the loop, and that's my fault. And from this point forward, I feel like I should be. I feel like I will be be more in tune with what's going on and more, vocal.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.